Well, today is January 17th, and Matt and I were talking about planning and, this year setting our goals. So this is episode 46 titled Planning to Win. And just, some food for thought of what you all might be doing and what we're doing to try and make this year as productive as possible. And in reference to an example that I had in my book, I was talking about how football coaches, when they go into a game, they have a distinct game plan, right, Matt? And they have their plays, but as soon as the game starts, variables begin. A key player can get hurt. Weather could be down. The other team's doing fantastic. There's just so many variables almost right from the get-go. And that's sort of like life, where we have sort of a game plan and we need new tires on the car. Or, we need to do something on the house. Or like you, Matt, with the rain, all of a sudden you're getting rain coming in the closet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, flooding everywhere.
So every plan can deviate. However, it's worse to go into a situation of deviation with no plan at all, because you have no focus, no baseline that you're looking at. And so in today's episode 46, talking planning to win, some of the key characteristics of people that are consistently successful are very adamant about planning. There's also a whole thing about journaling which my wife hates to do, but just documenting as much as possible of what your goals are, and then have a point of reference to go back to and refer and look at. And so here we are in January, and this is a great time. If you did write out your goals for 2022, how did it go? And if you didn't write them out, you kind of had an idea of what you wanted to do. But so Matt, what do you do? What is kind of your January, end of December, as you're looking at the year, forward year?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you and your wife do?
Yeah. So one of the big things that we do is we kind of plan out how we're going to attack our retirement buckets. That's a big focus January 1. How am I going to fill those retirement buckets?
Okay. All right.
To do that effectively and always get that done on time, I'm already planning for it the year before. So I'm taking for November, December, make sure I don't buy too many birthday presents and Christmas presents.
Right.
Make sure we've got enough money so that we can start attacking those buckets right at the beginning of the year. And that's my favorite thing to do, is get out of the way. And one of the ways we accomplish that is by having just checkups and meetings and say, hey, where do we have allotted our Roth IRA funds? Where do we have allotted our 401k funds? How are we going to afford to be fully, putting money into our 401ks instead of taking our salaries? Right. So that's what we do. We plan ahead for it so that January 1, it's not a surprise. We're getting right into it and getting right into contributing.
Right. Yeah. And the key with that is that, spreading it out through the year would probably, especially the way the market is right now, probably be in your best interest, especially like last year. But now that the market's down 19% from last year and NASDAQ down 32% for 2022, probably front load this year. So when you're entering in a year where the prior year was a big sell-off, probably front load a little bit more and take advantage of the lower prices. And then in the prior year that was really good, probably spread it out over the year because of the volatility that will probably take place. So that's great. And then with that, you have kind of your milestones along the way. If you keep doing what you're doing, what does that look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And you can check up on how you're on that track and, if you're achieving the goals that you want to achieve. So that's great stuff. And the thing that I was realizing, and, you're never too old to learn stuff, but, just looking at my calendar for this year, and I started penciling in my doctor appointments, the vacation, when I was going to work out. And then I have all the birthdays, and those are birthday parties on Saturdays, and then anniversary. And then you have your friends and their birthdays and events and anniversaries and all that. And I couldn't believe how much my calendar was already filled up. And of course you put in your work time and going to work. And so for me, what was really a breakthrough for me was in 2014. Actually, it was 2013 when my wife gave me a introductory flight to see what it would be like to be a pilot. I've always wanted to do that. I hang glide along the coast in San Francisco when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I always wanted to get my pilot's license. So that's no small thing to do. It's easily 60, 70 hours of study, 45 to 50 hours of flying, learning how to fly. And it's a big deal. And what I realized is that there was no way I was going to be able to do that by just thinking I'll have time. I literally had to schedule. And what I did is 9 to 11, 3 days a week at night, 9 to 11 p.m. to study. And with that was an agreement with my wife that, you know, I may not be watching a movie with her or TV, but 9 to 11, 3 days a week, I was going to study. And then during the week, during office time, I made it clear to my colleagues that I'm going to be flying 2 to 3 days a week. And the first 90 days are the hardest. The vertical curve of learning is amazing because there's nothing like flying. But anyways, the point is that if I hadn't done that, there'd been no way that I would have gotten my pilot's license, which I eventually did on November 10th, 2016. It took me about 2 years. But without proactively setting up a time, it wouldn't have happened. I know, Matt, you like to work out, and you just don't get stronger and go to the gym just haphazardly. You set a time, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and honestly, setting times and setting goals and having a plan, you'll end up spending less time in the gym,
right?
Than more time, because instead of, you know, dilly-dallying and not know what you're going to do next, you have an exact course of action to take.
Right.
You execute that course of action. You get back home, and you get a lot done in 30, 45 minutes, whereas some hanging out for an hour or two.
Right. And you have an app that you actually download and then follow that along at the gym to keep you on track. Right.
Yep. And it helps me lift exactly what I need to lift. Yeah.
So the fitness discipline could be just like the financial discipline, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, setting that up.
Totally relatable.
Yeah. And the thing that I realized with pursuing my pilot's license years ago is that I had to, as much as I needed to schedule the time that I was going to study and fly, but I also had to unschedule, because it has to be a zero-sum total or something is going to break. So it was a matter of an agreement with people or unscheduling commitments that I had, whether it was I wasn't going to work out or I wasn't, you know, I had to look at my schedule. What was I willing to sacrifice in order to carve in this 10, 12 hours a week that doesn't exist, you know? So here we are in January. It's being very proactive. My wife has a saying that I repeat many times, that if you don't manage life, life will manage you. So either you take a proactive and set your goals and what you're going to do, or it will do it for you. And targets don't just come to you and, oh, we achieved it. You know, there's proactiveness, and the most successful people are very adamant about setting goals, knowing where their direction is, and being very, very proactive about that. And so that's a really key. And so working out is, you know, just like very applicable to building your financial wealth and getting and achieving your goals there.
Yeah, I mean, I think really anything that you want to accomplish will come back to that, and it's really just focus, right? That's really what we're talking about, is focus.
Right.
So
when
you take the time to plan out and execute every single day, and you have each hour blocked out, and you know what you need to do, that allows you to focus. And focus is always going to end up in you getting more done than the average person. Because the average person doesn't focus. So if you do that, you're going to get way far ahead.
Yeah. And so we in this update, in the written weekly brief, we reference some sections out of my book, Physician's Guide to Wealth, that came out March of last year. Even though it's focused on doctors in the medical industry, it really applies to anybody that has goals. And it involves family. It involves planning your life, personal goals and hobbies, and what you want to achieve outside of business and finance. And so we talk all about setting goals and some exercises and disciplines that will help you. And you want it to be a pleasurable experience of achieving your goals, and not a dogma or some type of restriction that just makes it not fun anymore. And so we talk about that. So if you're interested in this book, give us a call. We'd be happy to send you a free copy. If you're listening to this, you're a reader or a podcaster, we'd love to get it to you. So that was today what we thought we would share with you is, being January, it only happens one time a year. And this is 4 weeks to really take a look at, how is the rest of this year going to look for you, and start penciling in some of these events that are very important. And that way you're not surprised. One thing that's been huge for me is putting in everybody's birthday and then having a week in advance, an alert. It's amazing how brilliant you look when you do some of these things,
Sure.
What's a hack that you do to try and not miss key dates of the year?
I do the same thing. Anytime I hear about something I want to remember, or for instance, a birthday, I always use Siri. I tell her to remind me about everything.
Yeah.
And, she does it so well, and it's so easy. Just, hey Siri, remind me Anton's birthday. And day at this time, even it can be so specific. Calendars are very powerful tools. Focused and accomplishing your goals. That's for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's what we wanted to share with you. January comes once a year, so this is the time to tee up the year for yourself. And we'd be happy to talk to you. If you have any questions, give us a call. And like I said, a complimentary book is waiting for you. Just give us a call. We'll talk to you then. So Matt and Anton, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.